Well, I'm going to turn on the water and go over and get the hose nozzle right now because I need to do some watering. I'm filling this bowl up because I'm going to need to separate the roots on these plants. And I thought by doing this I could wash the soil out from between the root system. But the water coming out of the hose right now is too hot to be sitting in the sunlight. There's my favorite grackle making a lot of noise. Here's my spring mix plants, and I keep them in, well, started them out in frozen containers. Used to be lasagna in there. Burnt some holes in the bottom so it drained better, and that's where I put my spring mix seeds. I'm preparing the bucket right now. Gonna get it nice and wet so I can make some holes in it to plant the little seedlings. The object on this is to try and get the soil out from within the roots, actually the roots, and see if I can transplant these into a bigger pot. But I gotta, at least I think this is going to work for me. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try and remove the soil from between the roots, leaving me with just the plant and the roots. And a gentle touch is required for this job. You don't want to rough it up too much. These are tender little seedlings. It took a couple of tries to get the soil out, but I managed to do so. I got most of it out. I looked up on the internet that you're supposed to grab the plant by the leaves, not the stalk or the roots. And if you're able to do that, you won't damage the seedling. And I'm using that technique. It's not something I invented, it's something I researched on Google. And a final rinse on the seedlings to remove the final amount of soil that's still remaining. And it's just a bunch of roots in there now, not too much soil, which is what I'm looking for. And I hope this is successful, because I never did have much luck putting it directly into the soil. Now I'm digging a little hole because that's where I'm going to put my seedling. Used a stick for it. I picked the plant up by the leaf, and I'm trying to get the roots down into the hole there. Once I get it in, I'm going to use the stick and try and fill in around the roots with the soil. At least that's the objective. It's a tedious job. You do it one by one little plant but it gives you adequate spacing between the plants, and hopefully they'll do better. Last year I just sprinkled the seeds into the big pot, and the plants were much too close together, and frankly it was a waste of seeds, and the plants, they didn't do that well. So I'm trying a different technique this year. I'm new at gardening, and I try different things. Some work, some don't. Look how long that root is. It's huge. It's amazing how long the root is because it's such a little leaf on top, and then you got such a large root system. It surprised me. I didn't know that seedlings would have that long a root. It's kind of hard to get the root all the way down because it wants to stick to everything. And here's the finished pot with all the little plants in it. And I'm going to be moving it over to its more or less permanent location. I can always move it when I want because I have a pot that's I can move with my hand truck. Now my wife's trying a different technique. She thought this would work, and we'll see. Only time will tell. Instead of washing the soil out, she decided to get her fingers in there and kind of pull the plants apart, keeping the soil.
Shaking it to separate.
The soil's moist, but trying to separate the plants this way I think might damage the roots, but we decided to give it a go. Now I watered this pot thoroughly. The potting soil mix in it was very dry. That's why it's making bubbles. And I'm moving the second planting over to its location. By the way, her method was much faster than my method.
Over there?
It seemed to be less tedious. So if it works, then that's probably the way we'll go, because it'll be a lot faster. There's the crackle again. Just a squawking and carrying on. It's mating season for them, you know. That's how they act. Alright, here's another one. It's completely potted. And she's doing some last minute touch up. She had a few plants left and she wanted to get them in the ground just right.
I know it's small, but it's got a very, very long root system.
And now we're going to water the little seedlings in place. I'm hoping that the soil kind of washes in around the roots. So that's really what I want to happen. And then the roots can take hold. And finally, we're going to put a little chicken wire cage over it to keep the birds from eating the seedlings. I wanted to show you my kale. It's a decorative kale. I thought it was the more, what am I say, eating kind of kale. I think the right word is the ornamental kale, and it's getting ready to bloom and produce seeds.
Tomatoes.
Here's my heirloom cherry tomatoes, and they're doing well. Here's my chives, and they're doing extra well. And my bunching onions. Now I planted all these last year and they made it through the winter.